Right, we've been very cheerful so far, but we need to talk about one issue that raised really strong feelings during this series, assisted dying. We've had some letters praising that episode, some unhappy with it, but what really caused quite a lot of anger was a report on the BBC News featuring shots of us recording this podcast and then an interview with Nick, the judge, in which he said this: "The likelihood, if you've got Parkinson's disease, is your ending is going to be prolonged and very unpleasant. That will involve a great deal of pain and a great deal of suffering." Here's what one correspondent who asked us not to use her name wrote about that. "I saw one of you speak on the television and you said because you had Parkinson's disease you wanted to be able to control when you died. I found this unbearably sad. My late father died with Parkinson's disease and every day of his life was precious to his family. We cared for him to the end and watched him die peacefully with the help of just a small amount of liquid morphine. He was not in great pain. It was a blessing to spend time with him until his natural death," natural in capital letters. Paul, there's another letter from that you can read out.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
This is Diana Clegg.
Oh, yes. Yes, here's a letter from Diana Clegg. "Please take into consideration the feelings of fellow Parkinson's patients when you make your case for assisted dying. My husband, 8 years diagnosed, has been greatly distressed by the description of his potential future death. He has faced multiple comorbidities with stubborn determination. Tonight he feels Tonight he feels flat. Is there any point? His symptoms are not controlled tonight, but he wants to carry on. Please bear people like him in mind."
Judge, would you like to respond to?
Well, I don't want to darken the light that is shining on this episode.
Don't bring us down.
No, I'm going to bring you down. But I just want to say I'm very sorry if by my directness I have frightened anybody or upset anybody or discombobulated anybody about this topic in any way. However, I do believe that for the majority of us, not everybody by any means, we are going to have a difficult ending. We're on a slope.
You did suggest for everybody.
Yeah, I did. Well,
it's a matter of degree, isn't it?
Okay. If I overstated that in order to make a point, then I'm very sorry.
You were being a barrister.
I was perhaps being a barrister. But I have put a lengthy apologia on the website, which is far too long to be.
You're not going to read it out
expressed here. However,
that would be like a slow, painful death.
I do. It would indeed. But we're not going to rehearse the matters that we discussed on the assisted dying. I do believe, however, that the terms of the bill are very, very unfair to people with Parkinson's.
The interesting thing, though, is because I'm doing this writing about it, I mean, I found out that in California, well, in fact, most states in the US has assisted dying, and in Australia, people are defined as having a terminal condition of Parkinson's that will kill them within 6 months.
Really?
Yes, quite a lot.
Good heavens.
Sorry, they say that it is a terminal condition there.
Yeah, and I've interviewed a doctor, Ryan Spiegelvogel, who says, it's not easy to define that with Parkinson's, but it is possible. And
it's just lying, isn't it? It's not. I mean, how the hell do they know?
Well, but that's the same with lots of conditions. You can't put a definite timing on it, can you?
The World Health Organization has Parkinson's as one of the main, leading causes of death. It's right up there.
Really?
Yes, and as I discovered in the researches that I made for the purposes of this work, over 7,500 death certificates last year recorded the cause of death to be Parkinson's, which is more than you would expect, because that's about 1.5% of all deaths, when people with Parkinson's are only about 0.5% of all people over 50.
And in a way, that's the easy. Sorry, that's the easy bit, because you're saying the underlying cause is Parkinson's. So maybe if you fell over or whatever, that could still be.
So was it top line or second line as cause of death? Because the death certificate has both, doesn't it?
The top line, 7,500, and I've given the link on the website to the government statistics that analyse it all.
I was always told that you don't die from Parkinson's, you die with Parkinson's.
Yes,
you die from complications according to Parkinson's. Things like heart attacks and things like that. It's not. I don't know. Is that still true? Is that still the case?
You were told wrong,
that is the.
My father, for instance, had Parkinson's and died of a stroke, and he didn't have a long. He was not well in his final years, but he was lucid. and didn't have the long, slow death that you described.
Yes, I do want to just correct one thing. You suggested that I suggested that we would all, as a matter of certainty, suffer this death. When in fact, what I said was the likelihood.
The likelihood, yeah.
And that's what I maintain. That
It's a bit, but isn't it a bit like your doctor who, when you were first diagnosed, said it's likely that you'll be in a wheelchair in 5 years.
Yes, it's exactly.
Yes, when it's not.